Grand Rising, everybody. Um, just wanted to come on real quick and talk to you guys for a few minutes about healing the shadows or healing the shadows ritual. I know a lot of people are interested in doing shadow work and are trying to heal themselves, and that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. I love seeing that progression in my community. But what I sort of want to talk to you guys about is some of the warnings, some of the downsides of doing shadow work, because everybody is just so quick to rush into it. And I feel like they don't really have a good understanding of what shadow and root work really are. So let's start from the root work and work our way on up. So when you see people doing root work honestly has nothing to do with deities or Jesus Christ or anything of that nature, okay? But the tools that or the energies that can help utilize to sort of help manifest these things quicker, you can call on different spirits to access different focal points of things that you are trying to manifest, okay? Now, with trying to access certain spirits and stuff, if you are new to spirituality, I would always, always, always recommend going through spirits or deities that your ancestors may have been gone through or is honestly just in their bloodline, okay? So I know that even though your grandma may have been heavy in the church or whatever, but long story short, if she was from the islands or Haiti or anything of that sort, you may want to start tapping into your blood and calling upon those deities or those energies to help you sort of accomplish the mission that you're trying to do for yourself. And what I mean by call on them is what I mean by call on them is simply start studying, simply start reading. Knowledge is power, you guys. So the more that you read for yourself and you study for yourself, you will actually begin to find yourself in a lot of those study passages that you will, Spirit will lead you to read and take on. And the thing about shadow work is it's not necessarily dealing with, yes, it's about choices and decisions and things of that nature, but it's a lot deeper than that, okay? This goes down to the point of sort of mannerisms like if you have a fucked up way of talking to your child, or even if it's just the aspect of, oh, I'm always busy, I'm always busy. Well, now we have to go back through your shadow work or through your shadow realm or through your memories of self and figure out where did that first seed of neglect get planted. You get what I'm saying? And even though you may not mean to be neglectful, or your parents may have not been meaning to be neglectful, it was still a traumatic instance that occurred that left you hurt, that left you battered or bruised, or even feeling some type of way, whether it be doubting yourself, your ability, or what have you. So this is still something that we try to work and focus on when dealing with shadow, okay? And the reason that it is called shadow is because there are a lot of energies and entities that are done in the darkness, meaning people have negative instances and aspects about themselves. But that does not mean that, one, they are aware, or two, that they even know that they can stop. A lot of people have certain instances implanted in their head because of the environments that they were raised in. And like I was telling another colleague of mine, I had got to a point physically where I had realized I kept asking for help and was asking for help and was asking for help. But the people that I was asking help from, they could not help me because mentally they were sort of being led astray. physically, they weren't doing well themselves. And emotionally, I had already seen a lot of the emotional turmoil they all were going through anyway. And it just added more chaos. So, in the healing part of that, that was something that me personally in my journey, I decided to step back and stay away from. But in the process of doing my healing and my shadow work, I knew that I had set certain goals and circumstances for myself. And while doing those, I had to realize that even though these were aspects of myself that I wanted, these are aspects of myself that I needed as well, I still had to learn how to manifest them in a positive way. And what I was doing was not positive. I was honestly doing things that were causing me to re-trigger myself repeatedly. So triggering myself repeatedly, it caused me to fall into a depression. And when you are triggering yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, what is literally happening is you are astral projecting or time traveling back to periods in your memory, or what we call recordings. When something has happened to you, it is recorded in your brain. So you can actually travel back in time through your cerebral to those moments in time. And that is why sometimes your mind will play tricks on you, because you think it was one way. But the way that you're thinking and manifesting and running off of those raw energetic motions, or what I like to call emotions, you really don't process it the proper way. You process it how you feel versus how it actually was. Another big part of doing shadow work is coming to terms with, I know a lot for my men, it's coming to terms with that volatile part, or feeling that you were victimized, or that if you were seen as a victim, that was a sign of weakness. And I'm here to be the first to tell you, my dear men, my men, that is not true. You have to realize that at some point in time that there was a woman who had been distraught and destroyed. And to make herself feel better, she decided to take her anger and frustration out on the very people or person that was supposed to be there to protect her. So in that instance, the tables were turned. But with that also being said, and with that also happening, it left a lot of our young boys and our men vulnerable, to the point they are thinking that, oh, if they have sex before a certain age, or if they had, oral sex or anything of that nature, oh, we men now, we men. No, sweetie. Truthfully speaking, if you were 12 years old, even if it was a girl who was 12 or 16 years old and they came to you, that was because this was a child who had already been experienced sex at an early age. This is somebody who had already experienced molestation at an early age. And because we are in a community that really do not talk about sexual molestation or abuse, it's very, very much swept under the rug and left to the shadow realm to deal with. And that is why when it comes to doing shadow work, when it comes to alcohol abuse, sexual abuse, drug abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, any of those aspects, when it comes to those, that is why a lot of people have a hard time trying to deal. Because they immediately want to put it off to, oh, well, I was raised this way. So yes, sweetie, we know that you are a product of your environment, but what we're trying to get you to understand is you're grown now. You've allowed your environment to change. Spirit has allowed your environment to change. So this honestly no longer has anything to do with any Orisha. This has nothing to do with the Loa. This has nothing to do with any of them. This is literally all you, your ancestors, and your DNA. And a big part of that shadow work with working with your DNA is because you will have to face the instances that you do have ancestors that reside in your bloodline that still don't agree with you living. Okay? I'll say that again. you still have to come to terms that there are still ancestors in your DNA that do not agree with the fact that you are living right now. You will have ancestors that mean you harm because they feel that this is their life. They feel that this is what they should have been doing. It should have been them living this life. You get what I'm saying? And because of certain situations and circumstances, they may have felt robbed of those chances in life. Okay? And with them feeling robbed of those chances in life, and now they're sitting here watching you living your best life. And it's very souring. Or they feel that you're not using your full potential. But then again, that comes into play with the fact of disgruntled ancestors are simply because we were taught about Christian ways. We were taught about Christianity. So now we have a bunch of ancestors who realize there is more to life than waiting on Jesus Christ on the other side because he doesn't come. So now we have a multitude of spirits and ancestors that are trapped in between realms, trying to get our attention on a daily basis, trying to let us know that they are still there on a daily basis. But because we were raised by these same ancestors not to acknowledge, not to receive those spirits and to cast them out, you are now banishing your own ancestors. You are banishing your family. And trust me, just because you're banishing them, they in your DNA. Unless you die, they're not going to die either. So they may just take a break from a hiatus from you. Or they may just leave you alone altogether and then start visiting your children. So shadow work is very, very, very important because it is dealing with self. It is dealing with those 7 inner gates, okay? You know how everybody is talking about your chakras and the alignment and making sure that they stay balanced. Well, part of that chakra alignment and staying balanced is also acknowledging your lower chakras as well. As above, so below. Just as you're trying to elevate and open your chakras all the way up through your crown, you also have those same chakras going downward as well. As above, so below. So the healing has to come from both directions, not just one. It has to come from inside as well as outside. So this is why a lot of the trauma comes down to the point of even how we are living our daily lives. How have we seen our parents do that? Because once again, you have to realize being born into this place and space and into this universe, the first definition of a God to any new being is whatever it lays its eyes on and knows is as mother. It doesn't know what a father is or anything. It knows mother. It knows the creator of creation and the destructor of destruction. Mommy is my protector. Mommy is my savior. Mommy is supposed to do everything, and that is literally what we know naturally through spirit. Up until mommy gets to the point where she relinquishes her God-right power of a creator to someone else and redirects that energy from herself to somewhere else. And now we have generations of people redirecting their own energy from their lineage to somewhere else. Just like nobody may want to really believe this, but as the years have been changing, a lot of people were coming back into spirituality. And one of the main things in spirituality, of course, that people were honing in on was the money aspect. Making money. So, of course, with everyone doing all of these money manifestation rituals over and over, full moon, worm moon, wolf moon, blue moon, eventually our ancestors were able to get enough energy to make that happen. But you have to remember there has to be a balance. So even though there was an outbreak of COVID and a lot of people may have lost their jobs, there were also stimulus checks going out. Family after family after family after family. Those who were manifesting or believing heavily, even and also putting in the work. And when I say putting in the work, I mean they didn't just, fill out the paperwork and that was it. No, you put in the work. They went down to Social Security, did what they had to do. They were making sure their taxes and stuff was straight to make sure they was on good, because they put in the work to manifest the financial stability they were looking for. And that, my dears, is when the entire country manifested money out of nowhere. Because clearly, if you didn't pay attention, if they were able to give us stimulus checks just for this, they've been able to give us money for shit. So, just something to think about, okay? So now you have to realize that we have all of these tools and great access that our ancestors did not have. And here they are watching you, their seeds, their lineage, fucking off their gifts, fucking off their foresight, shooting each other, murdering each other, massacring each other, raping each other in the families, and then covering it up. Everybody is speaking on the ancestors coming back, but that does not mean that they are coming back in a positive way. They may be coming back to correct some of the decisions that they made, considering that we aren't correcting them. We are being charged with correcting things and healing, and we are choosing not to heal. We are choosing to throw stones at each other and point fingers at each other and bring each other down. And that is why shadow work is so hard, because shadow work forces you to face yourself. It's almost like when I ask my godchildren in my tribe, what happens to your shadow when you die? What happens to your shadow when you die? Your shadow is literally the manifestation of your shadow self in the physical realm, which is why your shadow goes wherever you go. Literally, even once you pass away, your shadow and the energy of your shadow transforms or transfers over to either another place in space, or it waits to reincarnate. So when that happens, that is why we have to sort of keep up the acknowledgement of healing ourselves, of healing the shadows, of passing a lot of these tools down. And we also have to start taking time to heal ourselves and heal those around us. Healing the shadows and healing your shadow self isn't just about healing you. It's about healing your mom. It's about healing your sisters. It's about healing your children. It's about healing your husbands, your wives, your grandfathers, your uncles, all of these people who have had pieces of their souls stolen from them through traumatic instances or traumatic occurrences that have been so deep and devastating to the point it may have literally fragmented their souls. And what a soul fragmentation means is, for instance, if one of my worst memories was me being bullied on the playground, and now as I grow up, I don't want to go to playgrounds. I'll let my kids go, but that's really not my shit. That's because when I was a kid, that part of that happiness, that laughter of myself was fragmented and taken away. And since there was no one there to help me process the emotions the proper way, that part of myself, I just reject it. You just reject it because there's no one to help you process it. There's no one to help you out. So instead, what you do is you forget, or you black out, or those are memories that you no longer remember. Those are those defense mechanisms that a lot of us in spirituality go through mentally and physically. But for those who are very highly in tune spiritually, and you suffer from depression, bipolar depression, manic depression, migraines, mood swings, dissociative identity disorder, anything of that nature, all they are telling you is that you are a very, very high vibrating, empathetic being. And the vibration that you are on right now, they scientifically have nothing for. So we're going to give you these tranquilizers to slow you down until the world can speed up to where you are. So once again, this is why asking for help from people that cannot help you is very hard when you are doing shadow work. Always have a soul retrievalist and always have somebody that is skilled in doing Akashic record so they can actually help guide you and help process those feelings during this healing ritual. So I hope this helped. I hope this gave a lot of you a little bit more insight about healing and shadow work and things of that nature. If any of you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to hit me up on Facebook as Erzuile on Facebook. My business is tranquiltruths333.com. You can also find that on Facebook as well. Share my YouTube, share my Facebook. But by all means, my main focus, you guys, is we really got to start healing this community. We really have to start focusing on a lot of the ugly things in this shadow realm that we don't want to deal with, because a lot of this isn't even about the government or anybody else anymore. This is about us inflicting the trauma and pain on us and allowing it to keep recycling, allowing it to keep traumatizing our youth, allowing it to keep traumatizing our elderly. So when you know better, you do better. Y'all know my motto, guys. Namaste, you guys, but no, I'm going to stay over here. Holla.